Who am I hearing out there? Awesome. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Hey, Scott, how are you, buddy?
Good. How you doing?
Like I just saw you. How was what were some of your ahas that you got from team meeting?
Let's see. Well, a lot of it's things we've been talking about, and I feel like in a lot of the calls we've been doing. Well, I'm getting set up here.
Hey, Rhonda, good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
afternoon. I think we're afternoon now, right, guys?
Officially.
There we go. Awesome. I see Danielle, you're on here too. Nice to see you. Very cool. So in 1 minute, we'll get started here. So Scott, you were talking about we were talking about different ahas from team meeting, and that it seems to be it's kind of the conversation we've been having. So yeah, it's interesting. I think the key piece is around all of this is taking action, and whether that's from an agent perspective or figuring out our new calendars for those of us who have children in school. That creates a new opportunity, and so it's how do we remain flexible and fluid versus being inflexible and completely rigid. Now is the opportunity that we have, and gosh, Scott, that's a great drop back here. Looking pretty nice outside.
Yeah, I had to move outside.
I don't blame you. Do it. I think that's key and that's important. So I'm only able to see 4 at a time. So who else do I have on here as I'm scrolling through?
Patrick, are you on your laptop?
I am on the cell phone right now. So I had to set up this bad boy. And
if you do it on your laptop, you could do a gallery view and it gets everybody.
Oh, great point for next time. I will remember that.
I did the iPhone the first time, and you have to keep swiping left and right to see everybody because you only get 3 people plus yourself. So the laptop is much easier.
It's just like the Brady Bunch when you have that.
Fantastic. Hey, Freddie, I see you on here, my friend. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Awesome. How was your trip?
It was awesome until we got back.
Yeah, we have a whole nother world we're playing with right now. Well, let's go ahead and get started here. We're running about 2 minutes behind, and we're gonna go action packed. With the book Shift, and that's this guy right here. All of us know how to read, right? So instead of reading you the book, really what the idea behind this is, and with this Shift book club, is to be able to mastermind around key points. And share with each other, how are you shifting? How is your mindset? It has to start up here first before anything. And there's a great quote that's here that talks about how many of us have read The Traveler's Gift? The Traveler's Gift. So there's a great quote that's in The Traveler's Gift that Andy Andrews talks about wisdom. He says, our lives are fashioned by choice. First we make the choice, then the choices make us. So we are what we decide we will be and do what we decide we will do. We become our choices. So when we're looking at what's going on outside our walls, right? When we're looking at how some of us are putting on our teacher's hat and giving it the best shot we have and keeping Jamie Goldman on speed dial. When we're looking at that, what choices are we making right now? You know, are we making the choice to buckle down and go ostrich? We talked about it in the team meeting a little bit earlier. There's companies that are going ostrich right now, and they're dark. There's nothing going on. In the times of uncertainty and what some could say could be potentially some chaos, it's not the time to go dark. It's the time to be the brightest light in the room, because that's what everyone's going to gravitate back towards. And that's what they remember. So really the very first tactic in shift is mindset and action. The key around this is there's two different types of shifts that happen. There's the mindset, the mental shift, and there's the action shift. Now both of these tie together, but the mindset, the mental shift has to come first. And when we look at this, there's one thing here where you'll either be running away from something or running towards something. It's your call. To survive a shift, you must first make the mental shift to run towards what you most want and avoid the temptation of running away from what you most fear. Now, one approach lifts you up and the other one drags you down. So what do you think about that statement? We're either running towards or running away. And this is where everyone can go off of mute in the bottom left, and we have the opportunity to share.
I think we've got a changing market ahead of us, some big challenges, and you either embrace that change and adapt, or turtle up and just let whatever happens happen. So you want to be one that's adjusting to it and ready for it.
I couldn't agree more, Scott. That's awesome.
I think you really have to look at it as an opportunity as well.
What do you mean by that, Jamie?
Well, you were just talking about other agents, other brokerages that are not dialed in right now, that are not engaging with their people, that are just kind of in stop mode and not really doing business or thinking about what the next 90 days may bring. They're kind of in the now, whereas you still have to think, whatever I do today is going to show up in 90 days. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we're not going to be in this situation in 90 days. So I think it's just thinking ahead and seeing it as an opportunity for you to get ahead of the curve.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Thank you. What's another aha from that?
Well, the whole point of that is less people are going to be running towards the fire or through the storm than running away from it. So the last realtor standing will be the ones that are going to be attached to the activity while this is happening, and getting back to basics and doing what they need to do instead of saying, well, let's just wait this out.
Right. There's a quote in here by Linda Alexander, and it says, agents must rethink, restructure, refresh, re-energize, and reinvent every aspect of their business. The ostrich approach guarantees extinction. The ostrich approach guarantees extinction. So the key around this is, and we talked about this last week, and it's I even have pictures around the room in here of lighthouses. Are we a lighthouse? What do we need to do in our business and in our daily life to become a lighthouse? To be someone who is an attractor, that where they lean on us, right? The center of our networks. One of the greatest blessings and gifts that we have as realtors is that we get to spend typically around 2 months, maybe even 3 months. Sometimes it's shorter, but usually it's about 2 months to 3 months, working together very closely with a family, an individual, an investor that's either looking to buy or sell in the largest financial decision of their life. And we become their best friend. We become like their brother or their sister. You know, closings, and I know I'm not the only one here. There have been closings that we've had where we're all excited and we're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And the buyer or seller is sad
I'm fine. How are you?
because they feel that it's almost like breaking up, right? And so now is that opportunity to reach back out to those guys. There's 3 different types of people who emerge when a market shifts. There's first, those that fearfully predict the worst and are unnecessarily pessimistic.
You what?
Second, those who hopefully
getting
wish for the
bored.
best, believe
I
they
work in the
can't
morning
fail.
because my business says it's essential.
Hey,
So
Patrick,
those, yeah, I
You
think
What
know
we're
do you
on.
do?
are you the host? You can mute
Oh,
everybody.
okay.
Awesome. All right.
Oh, you did?
So let's
Oh,
see
okay.
here.
Hey, Patricia.
You got to start whenever.
Patricia, you are not on mute.
Uh-huh.
I think you can mute everybody,
I
Patrick.
know. We have projects to do. I need to light a fire under his ass. And that's difficult.
Wait, this is
I
better.
said that's difficult.
Right,
Trying
Yeah,
to get a fire under
this
his
is a
butt.
different market show.
So,
Um,
you work all over? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Patrick, if you're the host, you should be able to mute.
go. Yep. Okay. So let's go right back in here. So when we look at, there's 3 types of people. Are we still there? Awesome. So the 3 types of people who emerge in market shifts. First, those who fearfully predict the worst and are unnecessarily pessimistic. Second, those who hopefully wish for the best and believe they can't fail and are unrealistically positive. Third, those who respect the fact they might fail, actively prepare for the worst, and strive for the best. These are the resourcefully realistic and always timely triumphant. They're matter of fact about the market and sensible about their situation. So you can't control the market, and that was never our job, is to control the market. It's to interpret what's going on and to provide opportunities for both homeowners and home buyers. There's a topic in here which I thought was pretty interesting. We talk a lot about this through culture, is all boats float on a high tide, right? And we achieve more by working together. Well, what's interesting about that is that when times get tough and the tide goes out, all of a sudden, not everything works. And we have to pivot, and we have to pivot very, very quickly. So when the boats don't float, those who quickly adjust will have a floating boat, and the others will be on the rocks or they'll be out at sea. The choice is ours. What the intention behind this is, be a low tider. Be always ready for the low tide. Know that it's always a good time to be in the real estate market when you take a long-term view of the market instead of getting caught up in the short term. And know there's always enough business for you to survive with a minimum income while striving for the maximum. Keep your perspective. How does that resonate within you when you hear that? And you can take yourself off of mute. Okay, there you are, Scott. Freddie, I think you're still on mute, buddy.
Hi.
Oh, there you are.
I think it just, you've got to be realistic, and there's, you don't want to be overly optimistic. I mean, there are opportunities and there are things we can do to prepare, but you've got to be smart about it and know that it's not a given. Things are going to change, but it also doesn't mean you have to have super low goals and things like that. You can still, hope for the best and I guess kind of prepare for the worst.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's great, Scott. What are some other thoughts?
I think being a low tider has to do also with running your business like a business, and just preparing for the bad times to get through them. But also, I think your attitude reflects a lot what kind of clients you're going to attract. So even in a low tide and in the hard times, when you've planned smartly to get through those times, you're also going to attract, and you're going to be a better advisor for your clients, and not be a, sky's falling kind of realtor either way. Like, hey, hold out or don't hold out. It's more, hey, I know things are going to get better. We just got to get through this part.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And tying on that, and thank you, Freddie, tying on that a little bit, what are we doing on a daily basis to keep that mindset, to keep that positive mindset? Are we surrounding our environment with things that are going to motivate us? Do we put our goals in front of us, right? How many of us right now have our goals where we can see them? How many of us have looked at a vision board? We were talking about this during the team meeting a little bit earlier today, and Debbie had snapped a picture, Jamie, of your vision board, right? So
I did, yeah.
Which is awesome.
It's
So
something
now,
that I'm missing from my office at home, because it was right in front of me in my workspace in the office, and it's not here. So she sent a picture, which was awesome. I may have to just take a trip over there at some point and just go pick it up and bring it home, because we might be in this for, a while.
yeah, and maybe it's an opportunity for us, all of us, to revisit those vision boards, right? And it's not taking goals off, but because our environment has changed, and truly we're looking at this from an opportunistic side, as well as mainly, truly as an empathy side first, then as an opportunistic. Maybe it's time for us to sit down with our families during one of these breaks that we have and redo a vision board, right? Did anything change on that vision board? Or maybe some things got highlighted that that is in our blind side, and our family can help point that out. So are we putting our goals in front of us, personal and business, on a daily basis? One of the things that we talk about a lot in coaching is grab a dry erase marker, or for the ladies, maybe that's lipstick, and put that right on your bathroom mirror, so that when you're getting ready in the morning, and you're able to see those goals right in front of you. And that needs to be motivating. Maybe it's a devotional or positive affirmations that we can be looking at a daily basis. There was and it's actually at my office right now. There's a little book a little prayer book that I have in my office in my desk, and it's Daily Prayers for Men. And the reason I have that is when it comes to those mornings, or when it doesn't, when it's a normal morning, I'm able to flip to that and gravitate and grab onto something that is powerful and can help guide me through the day to make decisions from a leadership side. So are we doing something along those lines where we're able to layer different opportunities for that mindset? Because the number one thing that happens right now, it's the mindset. It really is. It's the 10,000-pound phone that we're like, gosh, we haven't talked to them in 10 years. They don't want to hear from us. And it's actually completely the opposite. They really want to hear from us, especially right now. So that could be something that you could do. It's one of the reasons why right behind me here, I have KW executives painted and all these things going on. The reason I did that was because I had to adjust my mindset. And that's what I talked about last week when we were on the shift call. So what are we, there's my question is, what are we doing on a daily basis to not just keep steady, but increase? And those could, and those could be things we can share together on the Facebook page. We can share together. Lab Coat Agents is an incredible place to go. That's a Facebook page. And that's, doesn't matter the company that you're in. So Freddie, definitely check that out. There's awesome ones. And as we go from mindset, the next piece we're going into is action.
Hey, Patrick.
Right? Yeah.
What was that again? Lab Coat Agent?
Yep. Lab Coat Agents. And I'll, what I'll do is, if you text me after this, I'll send you a link,
Okay.
and then you'll see it.
Thank you.
So absolutely. So the next piece is action. So once you've gotten real, once we've done this up here, now we need to go into action. And as we said before, to play ostrich is to go into extinction. And that really is because it's not what you feel today. It's what we feel 60, 90, 120, 180 days out will be a reflection of what we're doing today, this week, this month. And that's truly where the action piece has to come in and we're implementing. So, you know, do right, fear not. When you do the right things, you leave fear behind. When you know what to do, it's time to move from inspiration into perspiration, right? If you think about out there working out. Chris Heller says, you need to double your efforts to grow. That doesn't necessarily mean doubling the time spent. It means doubling the focus and the intensity so that you're more efficient and effective during the time spent. You need to double your efforts to grow. We've talked a lot about this over the last week, where we have the opportunity now to get hyper focused around the time that we have. For those of us who are parents and are coaching the kids, and we've got all kinds of different balls that we're juggling in the air. And I know that, and I'm with you 1,000% with this. We have a running joke that every time we have a Zoom call, Haven somehow makes his way in here, our 1-year-old, and gives us a nice little joyous present. And that has happened in back-to-back Zoom calls last week. So it was this running joke we had. Well, how the key piece around that though is if I know that I only have an hour and a half to really double down on making calls or connections or whatever that has to look like, how am I using that time? How am I leveraging technology to do that? This is the time where you can leverage into command and be able to, you know, do the landing pages, send those out, get feedback, all those pieces, right? All starting that originates from a care call. Hey, while you're sitting at home, I bet you want to know about what's going on in your neighborhood. I'd love to share this with you. It's pretty cool. Check it out. Let me know what your thoughts are. Oh, by the way, which neighbor could you share that with, or could I share that with, right? It all comes from contribution. There's no sale in this. It's all about caring. So the key is are we writing down how many contacts we're looking to make per day, or dials, or hours spent, or minutes spent? Are we monitoring that? Because truly, this is right now is your business at 60 to 90 days out. The other piece that I thought was pretty awesome in here, Ben Kinney says this, and now, granted, Ben Kinney's team last year sold over 2,000 homes, right? This was in 2008 when he said this. And Ben Kinney says, the market is chaos. Chaos is opportunity. It is much easier to slip by the competition when they have their heads down pouting. And if you look at what Ben Kinney did at the last market shift and coming into it, the reason that he was able to take so much market share and territory, expand into different states, run with an expansion platform, is because of what he was able to succeed, and also not just succeed, but also failing forward. There's plenty of things that Ben did wrong. And if he was on the call, he would tell you all about it. The key is he learned, and then he learned, and then he kept moving forward. He took action. So when we're running into a challenge where, let's say, something didn't work, or our business was based on door knocking and open houses, how can we digitally do that? What different opportunities, what agents are doing this right now? Maybe they're not in Denver. When you go into Lab Coat Agents or some of these agent groups that are out there on Facebook right now, Bold is another one. If you've taken Bold, you're part of the Bold group. What if you were to go on the forum and ask, hey guys, quick question, who's doing incredible things digitally right now? Because my business was based on open houses, door knocking, events, right? That's how you start to build that community. The cool thing around that is they're also in a different area. If they're in a different area, that's an opportunity for referrals. And when those referrals start to kick in, now it's a whole nother leg of your business. You have your active business, your passive, and then you have your referrals that come in. And how much time is spent on a referral? Not much. You can do it from anywhere. So what, saying that, what are your thoughts around that?
So I think that the digital marketing is a huge opportunity right now because we do have so much technology that is available to us. Staying in touch with people on Facebook. And I've been taking advantage of Zoom calls and FaceTime with my sphere because I'm that extrovert person. I like to see people. I like to talk to people. I'm like social butterfly, and being in my house is driving me crazy. And so, FaceTiming people and setting up happy hours and just using those pieces of technology that maybe you didn't really need to use before, just taking advantage of them now. It's time for that. Because the alternatives aren't there. I'm also an open house person, and that's not really happening right now. So it's just finding the alternatives that are going to work best for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you, Jamie. Couldn't agree more. We talked about something in the team meeting, and for those who weren't at the team meeting here, one of the closing statements was learn how to do things that make you uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable, then you're growing. And when you're growing, now you start to begin to take more market share. In fact, it feels really good. It's when we were in the middle of the market shift, our business more than doubled. So while some of my really good friends fell out of the business altogether 10 years ago, we more than doubled in 18 months. The reason that happened was because it was the database that insulated the business. So if you're taking action, what action can you take with your database? How can you break apart your database so it's not overwhelming? You have 500 people in the database. Are you breaking it apart to where you're able to make, let's say, going by Never Ending Referrals platform or a different platform that you can break apart that database to where, or that pipeline, and check in on people? The coolest thing ever is that this is, it's, and I say this with, I really do say this with a lot of sincerity. On one side, this is incredibly tragic, and it's going through the entire country right now in the world. Just being real, right? It is impacting the financial markets. It's definitely impacting the stock markets. This isn't pessimistic at all. This is a realist. And we're able to get connected like never before. We're able to get connected with different states, different agents. How are they feeling? What are they doing? How are they strategizing? We need community. Community can help give you a roadmap towards those actions. And when we're looking at this, and I got to keep glancing at our time here, we have 4 minutes left. It's kind of fun. I was reading through Shift here, and I literally pick up this book and read it every day. And the other book I read is The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, The One Thing. In fact, I got 16 characteristics of leadership behind me here. And I pick out a chapter and I highlight it and I make notes. Those who know me, that's not normally my style. I don't normally do that. Yet I have to become comfortable with the uncomfortable to create an action plan. And one of the things that they say in here, which I thought was kind of neat, when we're looking at action, be careful on who you leverage your action to. So to put lead generation and lead conversion in less effective hands than yours could spell the difference between success and failure. And that's a different conversation than failing forward. That's giving up our 20%. We know there's an 80-20 rule. That's the 20, that's the income producing activities. If you're coming down to that, that's different than signing a bunch of cards and sending them out in the mail. This is the actual conversations we're having. So I would ask you, have those conversations personally, because it coming from someone else is not going to have the same impact. Let's see here, as we go through, and this is what's kind of neat. So we're going to go through all 11 tactics, and the first one with mindset and action is pretty short. That's why we spent a lot of time really diving in, because it was only 5 pages. So the next one we're going to be talking about on Friday is tactic number 2, which is remargining your business, expense management. So something that Gary Keller has asked all leadership to do, and our regional directors asked, we're asking as well, take a really, really hard look at both business and personal finances and cut 20%. When you do that, now you're insulating your business from a financial standpoint against what we don't know, because there are some uncertainties that are out there right now. So really, dive in deep, have that conversation. I had it with my wife this last weekend. Is it always comfortable? No, it's not. And I know that is what's going to help push us forward. So really look at your expenses. That'll get us ready for Friday. And as we go through the list of the next 11 tactics, what you're going to find, and don't be surprised, they're not that special, unique, or new. They're foundational. And they're the components of every real estate career. So when we're looking at that and we're going, okay, gosh, what can I do today that's foundational that I can help build on? Maybe it's the care calls. Maybe it's calling, and I'm going to throw this out there, for sale by owners and expireds right now are in a massive uncharted territory, and it's scary. And the things that they were using to sell their home to save the commissions on don't work. So if you truly come from a place of contribution, not as sales, take the commission breath out, right? This could be a great opportunity to say, hey, Mr. Seller, I know that you've been looking at selling the home yourself, and the market's changed. This is what we're doing over here. This is how we're taking advantage through technology. And this is also how we're uniting together as a community, as a force. So I'd love to give you the opportunity over the next 90 days. Now, this is not the time for short listing agreements. This would be 90 days, 180 days, those types of listing agreements. And I'd love to share with you what my plan is on to help sell your home and take all the stress off your shoulders. Would you be open to talking, right? Would you be open to doing a Zoom meeting? There's really cool things that are going on out there right now, and I heavily encourage you to check those out. Also know there's a lot of noise, so be very, very careful what you take in. Review the resources. There's folks who are really excited, and there's completely the other spectrum. So part of our opportunity here is to be that center of the network and that lighthouse to bring them in. And that starts with the mindset and the action. And then next we'll talk about expense management on Friday. Any ahas, comments as we wrap up here?
Thank you for inviting.
Oh, go ahead.
That was it. Just grateful that I'm here. And thank you for inviting me, Scott and Patrick.
Absolutely. Join us on Friday. And tomorrow we'll have strategies around what are successful strategies in a changing market. So we'll dive in a little bit differently on tomorrow's Zoom call too. So you're totally invited to that. Awesome, Freddie. Thank you. Other ahas, comments?
Patrick, I took your advice. I am doing the virtual open house this Saturday. I did the $100 Amazon gift card for the first 10 people. They'll be entered into that. So I'm probably going to post it on the Keller Williams. I'm very nervous about it. So the more engagement, if you guys are out and about, 10 to noon. Seamus gave me some good ideas for it, but if you have any ideas or you've seen it done, I'm open to suggestions. So I will probably be the how not to do it, but we will get through it.
Awesome.
I fell forward so far you won't even see me.
What's awesome is you're taking action and you're doing it. So kudos to you for that. That's awesome, Rhonda. Yeah. Good job.
And my clients are, we actually put it on the market a week earlier. So, we're having to bust it. It wasn't supposed to go on till the following. So I'm having to take action a lot faster. And they are so appreciative of the postcards have gone out. They're just like, they're already saying, I know that your efforts are going to pay off for us. That was the last text that I got from them.
That's awesome.
So, we'll see. Thank you so much.
Great job.
Thank you.
Awesome. One more aha comment or question, and we'll close up. I just get to sit here and smile, and you get to see if I'm frozen screen or not. So
Well, my aha comment is just what Rhonda's doing. So the virtual open house is like that's definitely being creative and being active on these times. So not putting your head in the sand. So that was a great finale to this call.
Love it. Awesome. So I will see everyone on Friday. We'll do tactic number 2, which is expense management. And for those who are able to make the Zoom tomorrow, we're going to be talking specifically, and this is going to be a weekly Zoom that I'm hosting as well, that talks about specific strategies you can use during this market shift. So strategies you can use today, strategies you can use for tomorrow's market as well. Some of it will be pulling from 10 years ago. Some of it will be coming from success stories that we're already starting to see across the country that the leadership are sharing. So don't miss it. It'll be awesome. And I want to say it will be at, let me look real quick. Let's see here. It will be tomorrow at 2:30 to 3 o'clock. So 2:30 to 3 o'clock tomorrow, we'll be doing that. Please join us. Please spread the word. Love to have even triple the amount of attendees on the call. And I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have an awesome day, guys.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick.